It's a showdown in the Superdome. The Atlanta Falcons face their division rivals, the New Orleans Saints. It's the NFC Wildcard Playoff game next on ABC Sports.
Well, Dick, what about Jay Schrader? If you were over there on the sidelines, would you give him a shot here?
If he were healthy, I think I'd do it. I really do. You know, the 3 interceptions, boy, it's hard to win and liable to throw the other.
I want to say one thing about Yel Marinovich. He will not quit.
No,
He'll come back. Here's Nick Bell, and he is stuffed. Kevin Porter comes up from his safety position, and remember, he was dinged in the first half and missed a couple of series.
This is what Kevin Porter does best. You know, he goes up there and takes him on, and he meets him 3 yards deep, and there's no room to get outside. He flushes it back inside and stuffs the fullback. Nice job by Kevin Porter.
Boy, this Kansas City defense has shown a lot of heart today, haven't they? Lost one of their great players in Derek Thomas. Also missing a couple of others. Second down, Marinovich over the middle has Horton, and Horton to the 32-yard line. He was wide open.
See, I'm pretty sure they went double zone coverage. When that happens, that onside linebacker has to stop him, not let him off clean. So you should not allow that tight end off the line of scrimmage cleanly. He reads the double zone. Good read. He knows what the coverage is. Irvin Randall, 55, working over the left side of the screen. There he hits that seam right in between the 2 safeties. Now they should collapse and make the tackle, but they want help from the linebacker.
On first down, drops it back to Smith, the fullback, and he's to the 24-yard line.
Good job again by Marinovich. He wanted to throw left. It wasn't there. He turned around and just dropped it to his outlet.
The Raiders have 2 timeouts remaining. They used 1 of their 3 back in the third quarter. They trail it by 4 points. They'll need to finish this drive off. They cannot gamble on getting the ball back. They do not need a field goal right now. They have got to go the distance here. On second down, drops it to Bell. Bell to the 20-yard line. There's a flag. Holding face mask against the offense.
Boy, I can remember standing in that position and a call come up like that. It just, I mean, you.
Personal foul, face mask, number 66, offense, 15-yard penalty, second down.
You'll see right here, I think he gets left hand out. Now watch. He steps up in there. Neil Smith takes the inside. He's got that left hand up underneath and in the face mask like that. They're going to call it.
That was our first penalty of the half, but it was huge. Bell had reached the 20-yard line. The ball is brought back to the 39-yard line. Second down for the Raiders, and another penalty marker comes down.
They're beating themselves now.
False start, number 66, offense.
And it's right again. And at the conclusion of this game, the Falcons and the Saints, the NFC wildcard game. That's next here on ABC. So the Raiders self-destruct. 2.5 minutes to go. The ball put back on the 44-yard line. That's a loss of 24 yards following Nick Bell's run. They need to get to the 19 for a first down. And Art Shell and the Raiders will take the 2 extra seconds too.
Art Shell has that great demeanor under pressure. He never really appears to be flushed or confused.
Well, let's pause 5 seconds to allow our ABC stations to identify themselves.
KNBC TV, Channel 9, Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, with Dick Vermeil, I'm I'm Brent Musburger. We've come down to the last 2.5 minutes here of the fourth quarter. Kansas City hosting its first playoff game in 20 years, and the first ever in Arrowhead Stadium. They lead the Los Angeles Raiders by 4, 10-6. Second down for the Raiders. Incomplete and batted away by Lonnie Martz with another penalty flag. But for Martz, a second huge defensive play.
They're calling a play over here, Brent, opposite the throw, and I think they're calling it on Kevin Porter. Defense.
Defensive holding is major. That's an automatic first down.
Holding number 57, defense.
Huge.
5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Just huge.
Here it is. You can see that. Good protection. He's sitting back. He's looking downfield. Now watch him look right in there at the hole, trying to get it to him right there. And here comes the linebacker, Chris. That's Lonnie Martz making a nice play there.
They split the two running backs. And Bell will run behind the left side on 1st and 10 for a couple of yards. Martz making the play, but suddenly, without any flags flying in the second half, we have an avalanche as another one comes down.
You know, they called that at 57. He's not even in the ball game, Coach. He's on the sideline.
Holding number 88, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Here he is at the top of your screen. See, he reaches, he's got him around the waist, and he's got that left hand outside. Yeah, see, he's got him. They're going to call out when they see it. Many times they don't call it, even when they see it.
So 3 penalties against the Raiders. The ball is back on the 49-yard line. Still first down after the holding call. Milinovich dropping back to Marcus Allen, and another flag.
The umpire threw this one. Oh, my God.
We've had 5 plays and 5 flags.
Now, guys, let's pick up the flags and quit throwing them and play football.
Oh. I must say that I think the Raiders have lost their poise on this drive. And that's something that they have tried to feature through the years. That's been Al Davis's battle cry. Of course, in fairness to the offender on this one.
We have 2 offensive fouls. Ineligible receiver downfield on the pass, number 76. That penalty is declined. We have pass interference, number 81, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Whew, you talk about going backwards.
Now let's try to keep this in some perspective. When they were hit with the first flag, Nick Bell had reached the 20-yard line on that run. That was a 1st and 10. That ball now has come all the way back to the Raiders' 41-yard line. That's almost 40 yards they have lost. 2:22 to go. They've got a first down. Firing high and intercepted by Martz. What an afternoon Lonnie Martz has turned in for the Kansas City Chiefs.
You have to credit Neil Smith a little bit for that, because he really gave Marinovich lunch back there. You'll see what I'm talking about here. He feels the pressure. Here it comes. He throws it, and he really gets belted there. Now the ball is batted off the receiver's hands. Horton into Lonnie Martz, and that's his second big play he's made today. He calls the fumble that first time on the other big play when he stripped Marcus Allen.
.215. Neil Smith and Lonnie Martz deserve gold stars for their work on this embattled Kansas City defense. The Raiders had every opportunity here this afternoon, and they have been their own worst enemies.
Raiders have 2 timeouts left. They've got to use them.
The 2-minute warning. And Kansas City closing in on a playoff victory.
Come on.
Hey, what do you want in a beer?
Come on.
Do you want a great beer that's less filling?
Well, come on.
Then let me show you everything you want a beer to be.
Cold Miller Lite, it's it. And that's that. Come on. Come on, let me show you where it's at. Come on. Come on, 'cause I like it like that. Since we're talking beer, let's cut the chit-chat. Miller Lite, it's it.
Everything you want a beer to be.
And that's that. Come on.
You'd rather walk than drive an American car. You think no American car can match the quality of an import. You figure if it isn't foreign, it isn't for you. You wouldn't give an American car the time of day. Well, in case you haven't noticed, times have changed. Introducing the new Skylark. This is the Buick that's going to change a lot of impressions about Buick.
This holiday season, dash on down to McDonald's for your own original Indiana Jones videos. Just $5.99 each with the purchase of any large sandwich all day long. Give the kids an adventure that'll really bowl them over. Get an Indy video at your McDonald's today for just $5.99 each. The best price ever with the purchase of any large sandwich any time of day. Collect all 3. Just stop by McDonald's and ask for today's video. But hurry, because everyone is going to want one.
Coming back on that last interception, straight drop back pass. Lonnie Martz will come out from the left-hand side of the street, sit right in the middle there. See the ball batted in the air by the receiver. Ethan Horton was thrown a little high and behind him, and he just couldn't come up with a play. 13 turnovers the last 2. My gosh, no way.
Second down. Steve DeBerg in Kansas City. There was movement. Barry Word got the carry. Greg Townsend jumped into that neutral zone. So another 5-yard penalty against the Raiders, who suddenly up and self-destructed.
Look at this. The last 3 drives, they go from field goal to fumble to interception to interception. There's no way you can win. Absolutely no way.
Well, a week ago, it was the Raider defense. This week, it's the Raider offense. Barry Word. And they will close out on a very low note with 4 straight losses if they don't get this ball back. And we've got an opportunity here to remind you again about the bowl lineup here on ABC. In California, Clemson in the Citrus Bowl. That'll be followed by the Rose Bowl, Michigan and Washington, and then finally the U.S. F&G Sugar Bowl. Notre Dame will be taking on the Florida Gators. Shane Matthews expected to play in that game against Notre Dame, so they're all coming your way here on ABC. So Marty Schottenheimer a year ago was ahead of the Miami Dolphins and Don Shula down in Miami when the team started to celebrate a little prematurely. That one got away from them, and they have lived with that memory ever since. They come in here against their longtime rival, the Raiders, favored by 5 points. The Raiders, with a quarterback controversy, come back with their youngster. The Chiefs early on dominated the game but didn't have any points to show for it. The Raiders hung in the neighborhood. but then they couldn't do anything as they continued to turn the ball over, and then they were plagued by penalties. And now Steve DeBerg and the Chiefs will see what they can do with the clock. Word for the first down.
That was a gigantic big play with 1:42. Had him stop less than the first down.
Marty Schottenheimer right there in the middle of the extracurriculars. He has lost enough players already here today. He doesn't want to see anybody else injured and out. This team may have to go on to Buffalo. Howie Long was the guilty party.
Probably just out of frustration. Howie Long, top middle of your screen, number 75, working down. See, he's being pushed there. He keeps working into the play right there. He's right top middle of your screen. Now there's some blocking going on. Howie, here he comes from the right side now. He's going over, hey, you can't do that to one of my teammates. And that starts it. Now comes Jonathan Hayes. Oh, my gosh. Here comes Coach Schottenheimer.
6 penalties for 60 yards this quarter.
They can flop on this one now.
And the Kansas City Chiefs will wait to see what happens with the New York Jets and the Houston Oilers tomorrow. Marinovich and the Raiders will regroup and look ahead to next year, as this telecast is presented by authority of the NFL, is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited.
Kansas City going to head and move into the next bracket. It's Lamar Hunt.
He's had a wonderful organization here for years in Kansas City, and it's such a pleasure to see this team do well and see all these fans come back and support this team. He really is one of the class owners in this league. Al Davis, of course, is perhaps the most competitive, or certainly among them. And this is eating him alive as he came in here hoping to, what he said, steal a victory and move along in the playoffs. But it was not to be, as the Raiders have self-destructed.
Brent, what I was going to say there before we change those shots is Kansas City, yes, is going to move along, but they're going to have to play a lot better to be considered a threat in that next bracket.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, they've got to be very concerned about the injuries and the problem Derek Thomas. I know that Hank Williams is very concerned about Derek, who was taken to the hospital. He and the country and Western Star are close friends. They spoke on the telephone yesterday afternoon, as a matter of fact. And here's the young man, Martz, who stepped in.
Free agent from, he's a free agent from Tulane.
Did just a sensational job here today. Stripped the ball away, intercepted it. And Lamar and his family up here in their private box with some friends over there enjoying the game. So the playoffs return to Kansas City for the first time in 20 years, and they come back on a victorious note. And that exercises some of the memories of that Christmas Day against the Miami Dolphins when the Chiefs were beaten in 2 overtimes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Walter. Stay tuned to Channel 9. In just a few minutes from right now, we'll be joining Dave Stewart outside the Chiefs locker room with our very own Chiefs post-game report. That's coming up in just a few minutes from right now.
Wanting to get him. These final 20 seconds can't tick off quickly enough for Schottenheimer and the Chiefs right now.
The program has come a long ways in 3 years.
It's great for this city.
Yes, it is. This city has handled it well, and I think they're going to become one of the fine NFL cities, not that they haven't been in the past.
So Art Shell and the Raiders go back licking their wounds. Steve DeBerg, Marty Schottenheimer, and the Chiefs move on to the next round. A low-scoring game, not very well played. In fact, there were times during this game, Dick, when I thought you and I were back in the World League. You bet. Let's go down to Lynn Swan. Lynn?
All right, I've got Marty Schottenheimer right here. Marty, congratulations on the win, but it was a real tough one.
Well, a very difficult win. We're like the MASH unit in there right now. We lost Derek Thomas. We lost Tracy Rogers. We were having a real problem getting enough linebackers to play. We ended up with Lonnie Martz, number 51, who we've had for 2 years, signed as a free agent. He made a big play on the fumble recovery that Marcus fumbled and came up with the interception. And that's kind of an example, Lynn, of the way our team's played all year.
Yeah, everybody played really good. Derek goes out. Do you know what the disposition is of Derek Thomas at this moment?
At this point, I don't really know for sure, but it's being examined. We're going to have to find out. I don't know.
Coming into this, what was the game plan in the first half? How'd you change it in the second half?
Well, actually, in the second half, defensively, we just made a couple of adjustments. The thing that we've been able to do this year very effectively is play defense in the red area, the scoring zone, and I think that's the thing that happened for us today.
In the first half, you came out, you had some opportunities, they didn't quite come through. What was going through your mind?
Well, you know, those kinds of opportunities always haunt you, and I was telling a couple of guys on the sideline, coaches, I said, you know, we're wasting too many chances here. Nick had one of those days, but as I told him in the locker room, I said, Nick, it's behind you. You're going to have to come out and kick one, maybe to be the winner, and I expect you'll do that.
I recall seeing you talk to Derek Thomas in the game on the sideline, and you were trying to get his attention. You kept telling him, look in my eyes, listen to what I'm telling you. Was it one of those games when you had to walk around and talk to a number of guys like that?
I talked to a few people, particularly Nick. I mean, you know, he's a great kicker, had one of those days, but, you know, we've got a bunch of players that are in the boat and are rowing those oars right now.
Well, all you have to do now is wait, find out who your opponent is, and you move on. Congratulations again.
Thanks, Lynn, very much.
Okay, Brent.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations to Marty Schottenheimer and the Kansas City Chiefs, who have won the playoff game over the Los Angeles Raiders by a score of 10-6. And a reminder for you to be sure and stay tuned for the Cannon NFL Wild Card Playoff Report. Our executive producer of this playoff game, Jack O'Hara. Today's game capably produced by Bob Goodrich and directed by Larry Cam. Nice job, guys. And our technical director today, Jeff Suarez. Our associate producer, Jaime Bravo. And our associate director, David Kiviat. And thanks, too, to all the camera folks and everybody who gave us all the great coverage here this afternoon in Kansas City, with the Chiefs coming away with a 10-6 victory over the Raiders. Dick and I and Lynn Swan will be coming back with our post-game report here on ABC in just a moment.
The AFC Wild Card Playoff Game has been brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And by Extra Strength Tylenol Gel Caps. For everyday pain, nothing works better. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
Promotional fee has been paid to ABC by United Airlines. Come fly the friendly skies.
Catch the holiday spirit.
Hey, I had to go to the bathroom. Shut up.
On Sinbad and Friends, an evening of comedy and music with Heavy D, Bobby McFerrin, and Mrs. James Brown.
I'll be out your house one day.
On Sinbad and Friends, tonight at 8, 7 Central.
Sing to me!
Monday.
This place is a death trap.
Mac puts the screws to a crooked slumlord.
We don't like strangers.
And ends up guest of honor at an exclusive housewarming. An all-new MacGyver. Monday at 8, 7 Central.
It takes a lot of good lean beef to feed a 295-pound Chiefs linebacker. Savory roast, juicy steaks, luscious burgers, mouth-watering meatloaf. And that's just lunch. If you've got hungry linebackers at your training table, you want to give them the best, and you don't mind getting it for the best price. So do what the pros do. Get your good lean cuts of beef at Price Chopper. Like the Chiefs, a Kansas City tradition. Price Chopper. Best food, best price.
Are you ready? Are you ready, ready, ready? Are you ready for some real food?
A lot of places flatten the daylights out of their burgers. Not Hardee's, though. My burgers start nice and thick, and they're cooked to stay that way.
Now at Hardee's, buy a quarter-pound bacon cheeseburger and fries, and I'll give you a medium-sized drink. Free.
Are you ready for some real food?
Hardee's. Fact. Your Ford dealer is having his year-end clearance. Fact. This deal is for 10 days only and ends January 3rd. Fact. You can get financing as low as 2.9% on a Ford Escort or get up to $1,500 cash back on an F-150 work truck. Fact. It's the best time of year to save on all 91 and 92 model cars and trucks. If you don't see your Ford dealer before January 3rd, it could cost you thousands. And that's a fact.
Happy holidays from all of us at Channel 9.
The Canon NFL Wild Card Playoff Report. Brought to you by Canon, America's #1 choice for copiers of uncompromising quality. And by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows.
With Dick Vermeil and Lynn Swan, I'm Brent Musburger, back in Kansas City, where the Chiefs have moved on in the AFC playoffs, beating the Los Angeles Raiders by a score of 10-6. It's rather obvious that you can't win a playoff game when you turn the ball over 6 times. But, Dick, you were rather surprised that the Raiders got away from something that you saw them accomplishing in the second half.
Well, I thought they got away from using the horse that got him going, Bell. I mean, he was running, he had 10 carries for 60-something yards, and all of a sudden he's not a factor any longer. To me, that's taking the spark plug wire off.
Yeah, and we can't say enough about the fill-in performance of Lonnie Martz, the free agent linebacker today, who comes up with stripping the ball away from Marcus Allen. Then he intercepted the ball, so he had 2 of the turnovers. In hindsight, should folks second-guess Art Shell and the Raiders for going with Todd Marinovich rather than Jay Schrader?
I personally, now I don't know, but I personally believe they went with him because Jay was not 100%. He wasn't healthy.
So you think that if he had been healthy, and again, it was an ankle injury that he suffered in that shutout
2
loss
ankle
down
injuries.
Well, both ankles.
Remember, he said
absolutely.
in the pregame he could run a 40 in 2 weeks, remember?
Makes you wonder why there was all the intrigue if they had one of them injured all along. But I think your point was you stick with the veteran quarterback in that situation, and they were unable to. Now, the Chiefs, with their performance, you think it's going to have to be stepped up greatly against Denver or Buffalo.
Yeah. Well, they match up pretty well against Buffalo because Buffalo isn't the strongest run defense team. And as you can see by watching them play today, the way they beat you is running the football and playing good defense. But they're going to have to put more points on the board than that. They just did not do a good job today.
Dick, let's take a look at the game's only touchdown for those folks who joined us late. Here it is.
It was a play-action pass early, and they really pulled the safeties up with a good, strong fake. Nobody does it any better than DeBerg. They pulled the safety in, specifically Ronnie Lutz. You see him froze right there in the hole. Then the corner rolled up there. Terry McDaniels tries to come back and make the play, and he couldn't do it.
And that's a judgment call by the official again back there on the end of the goal line. And that's not reviewable by instant replay. He ruled that the defensive player, his impetus had carried the receiver out. Now let's take a look at what young Martz accomplished defensively.
You know, coaches coach this, Brent. Lonnie Martz does not try to make the tackle. He goes for the football. Now you watch him reach. He's going to go strip the football. Here he comes. Now see him right there. Let's see his right hand. He's going right for the ball. And coaches drill that on the practice field almost daily. This time it comes up roses for him. Nice job by Lonnie Martz. And it's fun to see a guy that's battled his way in the NFL, a free agent, not drafted, not even supposed to be here, not $1 million a year player, hey, make the big play. Now he makes another one on the pass interception. Drop back pass. They're going to try to get the ball over the middle to Ethan. See right there, number 88 crossing. Now see, it's high and behind him, good pressure. It goes up there, and here comes Martz right there.
So there were the two plays by Martz. Let's hear from the other side. And down we go now to Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Brent, I'm with Art Shell outside the locker room. Art, let's look at this game in two halves. First, the first half, and your assessment of what was going on.
Well, in the first half, we really couldn't get a whole lot going. Our defense kept getting the ball back for us and getting a couple of turnovers and stopping Kansas City from really pushing into the end zone. And offensively, we just couldn't get on track. First couple of times, the kid had a couple of interceptions where they played a coverage that not that he wasn't expecting, but he did not see what they were trying to do to him. And so they got a couple of picks, and we readjusted our routes to make sure we did some other things.
But even so, after that first half, you had to be happy the fact that you were not that far behind in this ball game.
Sure, we were excited about it. Coming out of halftime, we felt that we were in control and we can get some things done. And we came out in the second half and we pushed the ball on the field and had a lot of time off the clock, but we didn't get it in the end zone, and that hurts you every time. So when you go down and get 3 points instead of 7, it comes back to haunt you.
You go in the locker room at halftime. Todd's not having a great day. He's young. What's your thinking at that point?
Let's make some adjustments and let's put him in a position where he can make some throws and try to get our running game going a little bit.
You come back in the second half. Those things seem to be working very well. Do you try and open up a little bit more?
Well, you try to open up a little bit more, but still, if the running game, especially the running game, is working for you, and you're pushing the ball on the field, we wanted to do that and take our spots for the passing game, and it worked for a while. And then on the last drive, we were doing good. We were driving the ball on the field. We took our spots throwing the ball, and we were driving pretty good. And then all of a sudden, we get in penalties that just kind of snowballed on us.
All the armchair quarterbacks are sitting at home and they're saying, well, why didn't you put Schrader in? What was your thinking in the fourth quarter?
I think in the fourth quarter, we're here with the kid and we're going to finish with him.
Was he healthy enough to play if you wanted to play him?
Yeah, Jay could have played.
Yeah. But to you, psychologically and emotionally, it was more important to leave Todd in the ball game, to let him finish it out?
Look, I wasn't thinking about psychological or what was important. I just thought what was good for our football team to win the football game.
All right, Art, thank you very much. Brent?
All right, Lynn, thank you very much. So, again, 6 turnovers. And we mentioned the penalties in the fourth quarter. 6 penalties for 60 yards. And, folks, the Raiders did it all without Ben Davidson. Well, we got a second game coming your way. It's Atlanta, New Orleans. Right now, let's send you down to Frank Gifford. Frank?
This Chiefs Locker Room special is brought to you by the Southwestern Bell Yellow Pages, where people get what they want.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Walter, and indeed it was a good afternoon, or perhaps even a great afternoon out at Arrowhead as the Chiefs pull off back-to-back wins over the Raiders, winning today 10-6 over the Raiders. And of course, Dave Stewart has been out at Arrowhead all day long. He now joins us from what I would take to be a very happy locker room.
It is, Mike, but I was in Miami 1 year ago when Kansas City lost to the Dolphins, and it was interesting comparing the two. When Kansas City came off the field 1 year ago, not a word was spoken by any of the coaches or the players. Today, when the guys came into the locker room area, it's interesting the fact that you might expect great joy, but the Kansas City Chiefs realize the journey is just beginning. Not only did they have to win today to get the right to play again and again, but really they're a long way from the Super Bowl, and they've been able to keep this totally in perspective. One of the stars defensively for the game today in Kansas City is linebacker Chris Martin. What did you want to do going in philosophy-wise to keep Marinovich from having a good day like he did a week ago?
Well, we knew we had a couple of things on our side today, the crowd, the new surroundings, and he's a rookie quarterback, so all we had to do is get the pressure and get the crowd going, and it happened today, and we stalled at time, but we got it going.
Some people talked about crowd emotion, something that would run out early in a football game. Were you guys aware of the crowd throughout the ball game? What factor was playing in front of today about 76,000 people?
Well, being the first playoff game, and and the people buying the tickets, and that generates to us here in the locker room, and we know everybody's excited by it, and it makes us excited, and it just makes us want to do the best that we can to show that we're deserving of your support.
Kind of a scary moment in the first half when Derek Thomas left the game. The first report in the press box was that he wasn't feeling well. Later we heard that he left in an ambulance as a guy that's a teammate and close to him. Go back to when he first started not feeling well. What did Derek say?
Well, actually, I went in right behind him with an injury, and he was laying on the table, and I talked to him. He said he was doing fine. He had a irregular heartbeat. I think he was on some cold medicine, which might have added to the problem, and he's doing fine, and he's looking forward to next week.
Now, there had been some talk from the ABC guys when they talked to Marty, looking back when he, in retrospect to the Miami game a year ago, he felt that the Chiefs maybe let up, did not have the killer instinct at the end of the Dolphin game. Was that something emphasized this week? No let up. Of course, at a 10-6 score, you never had a safe advantage, but was there extra emphasis on really keeping the pressure on until the end of the game?
I think the emphasis, as far as Marty is concerned, is on the practices. You know, we weren't out there jarring each other, and we weren't out there long periods of time, and that enabled us to finish the way we finished today. I think that's one major factor. I wouldn't say that's the main reason, but we were fresh, and, you know, we knew the Raiders and they knew us, and it wasn't that much to do. Just go do it.
Now, at this point, you know that you will play one more time on the road, either at Buffalo, at Denver. I suppose people always ask, who would you rather play? But I can tell you this, at least one of the Broncos has said, we would prefer to play Kansas City again if it comes down to that, because they beat you twice. Do you have a reaction to playing Buffalo again or Denver?
Well, you know, really, we can't concern ourselves with what other people think. Well, right now, what we need to do is go back to the drawing board and iron out some kinks. And whether it's Buffalo, we got a great chance. Whether it's Denver, we got a great chance. You know, does anything go right now? And if Denver feels that great about us and that they can beat us, they'll get their shot.
Chris, congratulations on a great day today. Of course, it's not totally out of the question that the playoffs could come back to Kansas City, but that would be rather unlikely with the New York Jets as the last seeded team of the AFC at 8-8, winning a couple of football games and perhaps bringing the AFC Championship game to Kansas City. But again, that is a long shot. All right, we're catching our breath here inside the locker room, just a couple of feet away. Kansas City beating the Raiders today 10-6. We'll have more complete highlights, plus interviews from the Kansas City locker room as the Chiefs celebrate their first win in the 1991 playoffs. Back in just a minute.
I'm Ernie Taminia, your Independence Lincoln Mercury dealer. 2-day test drives on 1991 Lincoln Town Cars and Continentals. I know that if you test drive by Lincolns for $17,988, you'll forget Cadillac, BMW, Lexus, and Infiniti. Test drive your choice for 2 days, and starting at $17,988, it will be an easy decision. This 2-day test drive is only at Independence Lincoln Mercury. Driving a Lincoln is as good as it gets. Only at Independence Lincoln Mercury.
Are you sleepy? You warm enough? I don't know when I'm going to be able to sleep now.
The Southwestern Bell Yellow Pages, where people get what they want.
It's the Dodge Drive for the Gold sales drive. Now own Shadow America for only $69.84, thanks to 1,000 cash back. $1,000 cash back on roomy Dodge Spirits. Up to $2,000 cash back on select Dodge trucks. And package savings up to $26.83. In soon. See your nearest Dodge dealer today.
We're saying we're going to back the product and don't just buy a copy or buy a company. We're saying that we got the staff, we got the management people, we've got the service personnel.
Our customers deserve somebody that can walk through the door that has been professionally trained. I think that a technician is a people person as much as a person that can work on the hardware.
The customer knows that they can call us up and that the next day they're going to get their supplies.
That's what HOTS really means, is taking care of the customer.
We're back live inside Arrowhead Stadium, where the Chiefs have defeated the LA Raiders for the third time this season, 5 times going back over the past couple of years. Kansas City today winning it by a count of 10-6. 1 week ago in the regular season finale, Todd Marinovich did a nice job. 243 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. In fact, no turnover of any kind. But today the story was entirely different. One guy that had something to do with that, number 63, Bill Moss. Talk about the defensive pressure up front. What did you want to do to disrupt the things that he did last week?
Well, we thought that we had got a good chance of getting after him a little bit better out here on the turf at home. we lined up and we changed some defenses around and were able to just come up and get in the middle of the pocket and force him to move around and to throw the ball fast. And we had some good pressure up front.
Last week, some of the guys after the game said each team may be holding back a little bit. We might put in a new wrinkle. Were there different things defensively for you guys?
Yeah, there was a lot of things different. I mean, if you look at the game, it was exactly opposite of what occurred out there. They played good defense against the run. We just didn't run all over them. We stopped their pass and things like that. Game was low scoring. We anticipated those things to happen the second time we play a team.
The Chiefs have been spoiled by Nick Lowry because of his tremendous success over the years. When he missed a couple early, the Chiefs had no points to show for a couple of decent drives. How did the team respond and not get down? What would have been the easy thing to do?
Well, I'm just glad Nick got that out of his system this early because I know we're going to need him down the stretch for this run at the bowl. And that's not characteristic of Nick, and I'm sure he's going to correct those things and change it around. But, you know, I just like to extend my sympathy and gratitude to Kyle Gerhardt's family. It must be a real tough thing, and it was on all our minds this morning, and we were talking about it here in the locker room.
Bill, that's a nice thing to say. As you talk about the emotional side of the game, it goes well beyond the playing field, the tackling and the hitting. As a guy that's been around this organization since '83, how do you look at the success today to be able to play a playoff game at home and to be able to win it? How gratifying is it for a veteran? Chris Martin, we talked to him a moment ago, hasn't been around it this long. What does it mean to you?
I'll tell you, it's real gratifying, and I think it's quite a pat on the back to the people in the organization and the commitment they made to winning. And they made that commitment 3 years ago, and we've been striving towards this. And it's the first ever playoff game at Arrowhead, and we have a win. It's our first ever win here at Arrowhead, especially for the guys on this team. And we're ready to take it another level.
You lost twice to Denver. You blew out Buffalo. At least one of the Broncos, I believe Michael Young, said he wanted Kansas City again if it came down to having a choice because they beat you twice. Your feelings about those two teams?
I have a feeling that we're going to see both of them. I truly believe that. I think we're going to go to Buffalo next week and then on up to Denver for the AFC Championship game. And we've competed well against both those teams, and we've seen all three teams in this running that are left, four teams actually. And we like our chances and we like the things we do, and we're ready to tune it up and take it all the way.
What will the focus be if you do play at Buffalo? Certainly they have been licking their chops hoping to get another shot after you guys really embarrassed them on Monday Night Football.
Well, I'm sure that's in the back of all their minds, but we also have a chance now to make a run at this thing as they do. We have a strong running attack and a big, strong offensive line, and I think we can go up there and control the clock and the ball, and our defense is going to get after it just like they did today.
Bill Moss, congratulations on a good game played, and it means you play at least one more week. You play into the new year.
That's right, and we're real excited about it, too. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Okay, Bill. Of course, want to show you some of the highlights of today. Kansas City beating Los Angeles, but we could also bring in Leonard Ray Dawson, who, of course, is a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he calls him on the radio. Lenny, I'm interested in your thoughts as you watch that football game unfold as Kansas City denied itself a couple of chances in not scoring early. Did you think that they might shoot themselves in the foot at that point?
Anytime that your defense gives you that ball 6 times for interceptions and 2 fumbles, it shouldn't be close at the end of the ball game. But that defense, I am really amazed at how well that they were able to perform. Derek Thomas, you take him out of there. You know, Chris Martin was out of there for a while. Porter was out there for a while. They had all kind of problems with injuries, but they were reshuffling people out there. J.C. Pearson left for a while, but they did a heck of a job when they had to do it. And this team should be very proud of themselves for the job that they're able to do under very adverse conditions out there.
I know one of the things that you were looking at as a yardstick on measuring how the Chiefs did today was running on first down. How did you evaluate them? At times, Barry was stacked up after short gains, but he also had some big pops.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I think that's the key for Kansas City, because if you get yardage on first down, you keep Barry Ward in the game. Otherwise, McNair comes in or Harvey Williams or somebody else, and they get him out of there with the 3 or 4 wideouts, and they were able to do a good job most of the time. And you notice today that the Raiders changed up. They were veering a lot with their defensive linemen. They were blitzing safeties, coming up with linebackers, knowing they had to stop them. The other part of it, I said too, is the important thing is get some pressure on Todd Marinovich. Get up the middle, get in his face so he can't see everything down there. He had a lot of success throwing over the middle last week. Well, it was evident. Deron Cherry read the book on him. He looked at the films and he said, okay, young man, I know what you're going to do. He came up with 2 key interceptions, but when you got in his face, he threw the ball up for grabs, and they had come up with 4 interceptions.
Were you surprised we never even saw Jay Schrader warm up? Apparently Todd was the guy they were going to stick with the whole game.
Well, well, nothing surprises me about the Raiders after all these years, but in a way that I am, because Schrader has that rifle. He's got that arm. And there was a pass early on that J.C. Pearson got hurt, that Willie Gault had him beaten. And if the ball gets to him, it could be a touchdown. Schrader could have gotten the ball to him. Marinovic's arm is not as strong, so it was hanging up there long enough for J.C. to get back and break up the play. But, you know, what the Raiders do, no, I can never figure them out.
With about 3 minutes to play, there was 5 plays in a row where there was a penalty. Were you surprised that teams maybe were pressing and not performing under pressure at the end when the game was really on the line? Guys were making mental mistakes.
Well, I saw the Raiders had about either 2 or 3 penalties until that 5-play drive, and the Raiders came up with either 3 or 4 penalties that really hurt them. They did it a week ago. You know, silly things, you know, like pushing and shoving and trying to intimidate when the official's standing right next to you. You know, it cost them last week. It really cost them this week because they were on the move. They were on the move for plenty of time to get in and score a touchdown. They were in 4-down territory when all these penalties took place, and they really shot themselves in the foot.
Final thought quickly, they play either at Buffalo or Denver. Do they match up better at either place?
I think they'll match up against either team because they got the running game, and Word is running just beautifully right now. Defensively, the only concern I would say is how many people are they going to have back and healthy for either Denver or Buffalo.
Lenny, appreciate you stopping by. We're going to take a break and, as promised, show you highlights of Kansas City's playoff win in the wild card game. 10-6 Chiefs over the Raiders. Back in just a minute.
Not every emergency at St. Joseph Health Center utilizes our trauma center capability. Sometimes you just need a little help in a hurry. So right next to our regular emergency department is Emergency Quick Care. In about half the time, for about half the cost of regular emergency treatment, a physician like Dr. Mark Holcomb will treat that painful earache, awful flu, nasty cough, big bad cold, or little owie. Emergency Quick Care. Open evenings and weekends at St. Joseph Health Center.
We're saying we're going to back the product and don't just buy a copy or buy a company. We're saying that we got the staff, we got the management people, we've got the service personnel.
Our customers deserve somebody that can walk through the door that has been professionally trained. I think that a technician is a people person as much as a person that can work on the hardware.
The customer knows that they can call us up and that the next day they're going to get their supplies.
That's what HOTS really means, is taking care of the customer.
Kansas City, it's time we had a little chalk talk. I have a play you armchair quarterbacks need to practice. It's called the 10 o'clock switch. Okay? It's 10 o'clock. You're in a tight TV formation. Get your backfield in motion. Drop back, fake to the refrigerator, then go to the wide receiver and switch to Channel 9.
If we want to be first, we got to do it together. Practice tonight. Season's greetings and Happy New Year from all of us at Channel 9.
We're back live at Arrowhead Stadium, where Kansas City has defeated the LA Raiders in the wild card game by a score of 10-6. Driving into the stadium this morning, one of the guys on the radio, the pregame show on the Fox, was talking about if Barry Word was able to get 120, 130, 140 yards rushing, the Chiefs would be able to establish the ground game, use up a lot of clock, set up the play fake nicely. Kansas City, in fact, did exactly that as the Chiefs won it. Going to show you some of the highlights from this ball game. Kansas City in the opening period with an 11-minute drive, 16 plays in all. 12 times Barry Word carried the football, this time for a gain of 12 yards. Kansas City stalled, though, 4th down at the 15-yard line. On came Nick Lowry, who had kind of a rough game out in Los Angeles. He lined up a 33-yard field goal, and he missed it just to the left as the game remained scoreless at 0-0. But Todd Marinovich, we talked about him last week, making no mistakes today. Turnovers, a different story. Deron Cherry there for the interception, taking it inside the 25-yard line. Again, Nick Lowry came into the football game, this time with a 47-yard try, and it was just short. The Raiders breathed a deep sigh of relief as the game remained scoreless. Then later, 2nd and 12 at the 36-yard line. Kansas City with good pressure. Derek Thomas knocked the football free. Bill Moss recovered. Kansas City got it back one more time. But Ronnie Lott, the veteran who came over from San Francisco and has done a terrific job for Los Angeles with a tip ball by Ricky Ellison. Lott brought it back across midfield, and the Raiders had outstanding position. not able to score a point, though. And again, one more time, we see an interception. Deron Cherry with his second pick of the game, a 29-yard return, and it was Los Angeles' third turnover. Kansas City's one touchdown of the game came right here. Freddie Jones in the back of the end zone was shoved out of bounds, but it counted as the Chiefs led by a 7-0 count. Later in the football game, Marcus Allen on a swing pass from Marinovich. The ball was stripped free by Lonnie Martz, and Kansas City recovered the football. Barry Word talked about him, a big day, 130 yards rushing. This time a 19-yard game put him over the 100-yard mark in the football game, but Kansas City not able to punch it in down close. 4th and goal at the 1. The Chiefs settled for the field goal from Nick Lowry, and that made it 10-6, the final score. That was an 18-yarder, and the Chiefs will play one more time. This is really what happened down the stretch. Marinovich, his pass overshot, intercepted by Eric Everett, weaving his way back to the middle of the field, and Kansas City able to keep the pressure on. Many penalties late in the football game, pushing Los Angeles back. The final blow right here when the pass was tipped and intercepted by Lonnie Martz. Marinovich down as Los Angeles lost the game by a 10-6 count. Earlier, we mentioned Derek Thomas leaving the football game, going to the hospital in an ambulance. He is now at St. Luke's under observation. We're told that he left the premises here because he reported a fast heartbeat. The Chiefs wanted to make sure everything was okay. At this point, they believe everything is. Derek Thomas just being observed at this point. He went out of the game early when he said he felt ill, and he never did return. Now, a couple of things could happen for Kansas City in the playoffs. We know they will play at least one more game on the road. Let's put up a couple of graphics to show the possibilities. We know the Chiefs will play either at Buffalo or Denver. Now, this is the scenario. Kansas City playing at Buffalo next week or at Denver. But for Kansas City to get another shot at the Broncos, the New York Jets would have to beat Houston in an AFC playoff game. That's the story here from Arrowhead Stadium, where Kansas City celebrating its first home playoff game in 20 years, and the Chiefs do it upright in front of about 75,000 fans, beating Los Angeles by a count of 10-6. Mike Walter, back to you downtown.
David, you asked Len the question. I'll ask you the same question. What about Denver or Buffalo? What team do you think they stack up better against?
Well, if I had a choice, I think I would prefer Denver for a couple of obvious reasons. One being it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. Kansas City did that, getting by Los Angeles today and making it 3 in a row, 5 in a row over 2 years. But I think they know the Broncos better. Buffalo, they played here earlier in a Monday night game, early in a situation where Kansas City did everything right. The Bills had a 17-18 game home winning streak before last weekend when they lost to Detroit, and you have to remember that 4 of the Bills regulars did not play in that game or saw very limited action. Jim Kelly did not play at quarterback. Thurman Thomas did not play at running back. Steve Tasker didn't really expect him to play too much. We saw him at wide receiver just a little bit, but Buffalo is an awfully tough place to play if Kansas City goes all the way. At some point, they will have to probably take on the Bills, but it would be nicer to have Denver in between to have a shot to get there.
You know, there's going to be obviously a huge difference, though, next week, depending upon either one of these teams versus this week. This week, you're up against a very inexperienced quarterback in Todd Marinovich. Next week, you're up against either one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
And, of course, Elway has had his share of great days against Kansas City over the years. Not necessarily big numbers, but it seems like even when John Elway doesn't perform well, statistically, he always finds a way to come up with a big play late in the game. We've seen it in recent years too many times over the years where Elway is able to come up with a big play. He's complained about having a sore shoulder much of this football season, particularly the second half. But, again, each time he complains about it, and he goes out and still throws the ball 50, 60 yards down the field. Jim Kelly, a little bit different in terms of mobility. He has a strong arm. He has great leadership ability. The guys around him, as does John Elway, have a tremendous amount of respect for the things that he does once he steps on a football field. And at some point, the Chiefs will probably have to play both Denver and Buffalo if they intend to get to the Super Bowl in Minneapolis later in January.
Absolutely. David, thank you so much for such a comprehensive report, and we'll see you back here again tonight at 10 o'clock.
Well, I can tell you this is the way to do it when the team wins. A year ago in Miami, the players are professionals. They're used to dealing with victories and losses, but this was definitely the better locker room to cover.
Yeah, and it's not too bad asking the questions after they won, too.
The questions are always nicer, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you again, David.
Okay.
Once again, the final in today's game, the Chiefs win it 10-6 over the Raiders, and if you want to stay tuned for more NFL football playoff action, this is the place to be, Channel 9, so stay with us.
Your sixth grader Kansas City Honda dealers announce a massive citywide direct-to-the-public sale. Honda has provided our area with an extra large inventory of brand new Accords, Civics, and Preludes. Hundreds of new 1992 Hondas at absolutely rock-bottom prices. American Honda Finance Corporation will be available at all 6 Honda dealerships for immediate credit approval and on-the-spot financing. This gigantic direct-to-the-public sell-off of new 92 Hondas is at the lowest sale prices you've ever dreamed possible. You can own a new Honda right now.
Cute dog. Real cute.
Did you say you wanted a boy dog or a girl dog?
Girl.
You said you wanted one with spots, did you?
I want the dog like that has white with black spots.
Yeah. Didn't you have a name all set up?
Oh yeah, Molly.
The Southwestern Bell Yellow Pages, where people get what they want.